So we're here live via Skype with Matt Hudson, who's also known as Orphan Elliott online. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm located in Bellingham, Washington, which is about it's halfway between Vancouver, BC, and Seattle in
Cool,
Washington State.
cool, man. And have you always lived there? And
I have not. I grew up in Michigan, in southeast Michigan near Toledo, and went to school in Florida, and then decided to drop out and do AmeriCorps out here in Washington. I've never been out here before, and just have stayed since.
cool. And so, your work has been all over not only Eat Sleep Draw, but um, all of Tumblr. You've been on the Tumblr dashboard multiple times, and just some really awesome artwork. So I'm very very excited that I get a chance to dive into the actual artist itself and not just the work. So
Yeah.
your name is Matt, but your I guess your not call name, but like your artist name
Yeah, like a
is
month.
Orphan Elliott. Where does that originate from? Is that from something?
Well, I knew I'd been toying with a bunch of different monikers for a little while, and then knowing that I was getting more serious about art, I knew I wanted one just to have one. I guess I don't know. I think it's helpful online with usernames and different things, but it's also fun to have an alias. And Elliot comes from one of my favorite movies. Still is E.T. and the main character is Elliot, and I was going to go with whatever his name was, but he doesn't have a last name, so he's only given Elliot. And I liked how Orphan worked as both maybe a title and a name. It kind
Mm-hmm.
of works in front of it, and it's hard to distinguish what necessarily it means. So that's just how it happened.
So you're just a big E.T. fan or Spielberg fan?
Yeah, both, both.
Okay,
Like,
and is that like early on how influenced your work? Like I was trying to dig up like some really early stuff, and like there's some like very painterly stuff, and then more recently, within I'd say a year or so, you've moved into this graphic style.
yeah, so I went to school for filmmaking and had always had a love for film that tied in with animation as well. And so that's kind of I felt like I kind of studied film visually and drew a lot of ways to express emotion through that. And then just recently, as you've noticed, just have I don't know how that has come about, the more graphic style, but yeah, just gaining things and trying to mesh the two, I think, is what I'm trying to do now.
And like, what's your process like? Do you do sketches beforehand? Like, how do these
Yeah,
images come about?
I have a bunch of these moleskin books that I fill up with sketches beforehand. I do a lot of thumbnailing, and then almost all of my stuff is done digitally in Photoshop.
Okay, so you
Um,
just like scan it in and then work with it.
yeah, yeah, and so depending on what the piece needs, there are a few that have some textures in them where I'll actually take textures that I create in life and then scan them in or take pictures of them and use that to cut away. But yeah, that's the kind of basic. I just going through and doing. I mean, I have a lot of different pieces, and I get kind of ADD about that, I suppose, about different styles and trying to figure out mine. So I end up. It just really depends for each one, but that's the general.
Cool. So,
You know.
I asked this question on the blog, and this is actually an Eat Sleep Draw user or viewer question from the user I Taste Blood. That's the person's moniker,
Okay.
and she asked, or he asked,
Yeah.
how much time do you spend drawing?
Well, I illustrate professionally now,
Oh, cool.
full time sort of, and so I spend probably close to 8 hours a day drawing. Um, Probably about four of that is spent doing my own work, and then the rest is doing clients' work, whether it be t-shirt design or editorial stuff.
For
Um,
like newspapers or.
Yeah, I've done a few things for some magazines and different things. I mainly do T-shirt design for a few different companies, doing like print on demand stuff. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool. And so, um, how long does it usually take you to go from concept and sketches to like a final finished
yeah,
product?
yeah.
And
So
that question comes from another one of our people,
yeah,
just another
so
elephant. So go ahead. Yeah, like
that that usually happens really quickly, where I usually get inspired to come up with a piece, and I have enough free time lately that I'm able to, uh, or obsessiveness about a certain piece that I'm able to get it out in one day. I've actually been trying to challenge myself lately to spend more, like separate myself from a piece, like work on it for a short time, and then come back to it the next day or so, because I tend to create something in an 8 hour block where I
mhm.
get really obsessed and I don't stop drinking coffee and I just keep creating and creating, and it ends up really taking it out of me, and I end up not, I just can't function as well. But I enjoy the pieces I create, and yeah,
Cool.
not sure
So,
if I answered the question.
what was the first thing you ever drew? Like going back
Yeah,
to like I'm guessing when you were a little kid.
yeah. So I asked my mom, just like I think Gabrielle did. Um, I thought it was something along the lines of a Mickey Mouse drawing I remember drawing, but she said when I was 3, I drew this portrait. She has no idea why I drew this portrait, but I drew a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and she still has it. It's laminated. Oddly enough, I think it's probably the one piece that I've done that she still admires. That she probably admires the most. I think she thinks I kind of peaked then, but I don't know. Yeah, so it's an Abraham Lincoln portrait.
That's awesome.
She theorized maybe I had found some money and thought that was more interesting or something.
What are some of your favorite artists? Like what are some artists that you just like just totally go gaga over
Yeah,
and
I actually grabbed some books just like
all
Gabrielle
right,
did.
yeah, but yeah, show
I'm
and
just
tell.
copying
Let's see what we got.
her interview. I really love children's books, and my favorite children's book author and writer is Charles Keeping. He does a lot of great colors with watercolor and ink.
Beautiful.
Uh, just kills it. Like it's just incredible stuff. Um, the other one of the other ones I had was Charlie Harper. He's got a
Love Charlie
really great
Harper.
graphical style, and I think it's I draw the most personally in my own work from him. Just the way that he cuts through, and I just find it so inspiring that he's doing things that look so geometrical with just paint. It's like
Yeah.
it's incredible, those fine lines and stuff.
I
And
also
then
noticed behind you you have Where the Wild Things Are.
yes, that's my favorite children's book. I also love Maurice Sendak. His stuff is incredible.
So, would you ever do your own children's book? Because you seem to draw a lot of inspiration from that.
Yeah, actually, that's actually one of my goals coming up here. I have one that's nearly finished. I have a bunch in the work, but and I'm trying to within the next couple of months get it funded through Kickstarter and self-publish it. So
Totally, totally.
yeah, I'm really excited about that one. It's really
Awesome.
cool.
And so, I'm guessing that's like one of your goals is to be
Yes,
like, do you have just like one idea for one book, or do you have like a series, or?
I have a few different books in varying levels of how much they are completed as
Mm-hmm.
far as story wise and storyboarding and different things. A lot of them have little challenges. I worked with AmeriCorps in an elementary school with the Reading Corps and here in town, and I worked with a lot of students who were upper level, like fifth graders, but they were at first grade reading level, and that's kind of something that I keep finding myself trying to tackle is helping those kids find a book that can help them learn to read, but that isn't necessarily just about puppies, but has some high adventure and can be a little more enjoyable, but is still easy to read, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What like I just like you have multiple websites. What are some of the places that people watching this video or this interview can go and check out more of your work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Orphan Elliott is the main one, orphanelliott.com. And it kind of links back to my Flickr page, which is updated the most often. And then it has connections to my Society 6, which is where I do prints and stuff. And I dabble with Etsy, but I don't have as much original work on there. So.
And then you're on Threadless as well?
Yeah. So it's just Orphan Elliott on Threadless.
And how many prints or like T-shirts are
I've
you?
only been. I was printed last year.
Okay.
That was the first time I was printed. And it sold out, so there aren't any left.
Wow.
But,
and how has that like printed through Threadless? Like how has that changed the way that you design now?
yeah, I think it has given me probably an inappropriate amount of confidence, which is probably good, I guess, on some parts. But I think that it's helped me understand that my work is enjoyed by others and not just myself, because I tend to create just for myself, and I think it's nice to at some point get that little boost. And it had always been a goal of mine since I had followed Threadless to get printed, and it was really nice to try only a couple times and make it through. It was really exciting. So I think it's just a really good confidence booster, whether that's a good thing or not. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I just want to thank you for joining us here on EatSleepDraw TV.
Absolutely.
And so just orphanelliott.com, and then search for you on Threadless, and
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks.